great question. I got my start professionally teaching, and I was definitely a huge bleeding heart liberal, and I, still kind of am. But it was, for me, it was a huge opportunity to really sink my teeth into something that I believed in. That's always been sort of operating at the core of like who I am as a person. And I had a really hard time when I first started my career of like, anyone who did anything other than like helping out humanity in a very direct, tangible way of having their hands dirty. It was really hard for me to like relate to people. I was like, oh, you're a jerk. You're just like after money, or you're after this or that. I think that as Dinner Lab has grown, as the concept is starting to, turn a corner of sorts, and it's looking like, we could potentially be onto something really big here. I've derived so much energy out of, hiring people and giving people the opportunity to sort of create wealth, and not in the sense that everyone can buy fancy cars, but giving people the opportunity to pay their rent and to also, be working on something that everyone really believes in. That's just, I've been really fortunate my whole career to be in that world, but I can't imagine doing anything else, and to be surrounded by people who do that. That's the huge thing. And it's, doing that from New Orleans, again, if we were fortunate enough to have some type of liquidation event, and we have 40 or so and 50 employees down here in New Orleans, and all of a sudden you have our employees who have some cash in their pocket to potentially invest in new ideas, and that then their friends are coming to them, and more companies are being started in New Orleans, and that for me would have a paramount, just like a ridiculous effect on the city. You look at a city like Austin, Texas, and the reason why Austin is because of Dell. I mean, sure, there's all sorts of other reasons, but Dell had a huge cash out event, and all of a sudden people in technology started moving there, and other people started coming in, and now it's this, hub of entrepreneurship and things of that nature. And it's like, to be able to do something like that in a city like New Orleans would be a ton of fun. And even if it's not necessarily in New Orleans, just to be able to do that with other people that I really care about, it's something that means more to me than, seeing our, ringing the bell on the New York Stock Exchange. Like, sure, that'd be fun and probably make my parents really happy. But like at the end of the day, like, that's not what it's about. It's about doing something that, can create lasting value for a lot of people, and have a fundamental impact on people's lives. And what cooler than that? So when I hit walls or things like that, I think, initially I put so much of that pressure on myself to figure it all out and to be the person who's like, I have every answer. And, I don't. So I think, this is a bit of a rant, but one of my favorite things is there's looking at how Abraham Lincoln sort of ran the presidency, and looking at how JFK ran the presidency. And it's a really interesting sort of thing to look at. And I try to model somewhere in between the two. By no means am I putting myself anywhere near those two names, but Lincoln surrounded himself with people who hated each other and were all really smart and all fought. And then he would just sit back and listen to the chaos. And Kennedy surrounded himself with really smart people who brought him the best information. And then he ultimately made every decision. He was like, bring me the best information out there, and I'm going to make the call. And I think somewhere in the middle of those two models are something that I really try to sit in the middle of. And that's how I've like sort of maintained balance and things like that, is just recognizing, like, especially as this company grows, like, I'm not the smartest person like to do this. Like, there probably are people who are naturally more intelligent or better managers or things like that. So the great thing is that we can hire them. So that's sort of the long and short of it.